Trump halts Iran strike. San Diego mosque massacre. Ebola crisis explodes. Musk loses OpenAI case. Greetings, humanity. Let's rock the news, starting with the most important story in the world today. Dateline, Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump announced he has postponed a planned major U.S. military strike on Iran, originally scheduled for today, following direct requests from key Gulf leaders. In a detailed Truth Social post, Trump revealed that the Emir of Qatar, the Saudi Crown Prince, and the President of the UAE all urged him to hold off, so serious negotiations could advance toward a deal, preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Trump emphasized respect for these allies while keeping U.S. forces on high alert. He instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and military leaders to prepare for a full, large-scale assault on a moment's notice if talks fail. The decision comes amid ongoing tensions from Iran's activities in the Strait of Hormuz, where Tehran has claimed a new authority, and vessels still face disruptions. Oil prices have swung sharply on the news, meaning that it falls with good news, and it always rises with bad news, every time, every day. But this does reflect the global economic stakes. This pause follows weeks of escalation after earlier exchanges and a fragile ceasefire. Trump has repeatedly warned Iran that time is running out, stating there won't be anything left without an acceptable agreement. Gulf states appear eager to avoid broader regional fallout that could spike energy costs and destabilize shipping lanes critical to world trade. Critics question whether Iran will negotiate in good faith, citing its history of delays and their support for proxy groups to stir up trouble elsewhere. Supporters of a firm stance highlight national security risks from a nuclear-armed Iran threatening Israel and U.S. interests. The move underscores Trump's America First approach, prioritizing diplomacy when allies request it, but readiness to act decisively to protect borders, energy security, and allies. Markets reacted with volatility as investors weigh peace prospects against persistent blockade effects and inflation fears. Religious liberty and traditional values advocates note the broader fight against radical ideologies that threaten freedom worldwide. As negotiations unfold, the administration signals no tolerance for uranium enrichment activities in Iran that could alter the Middle East balance of power. I'm Robert Gardner, using GROK each weekday to truthfully summarize the news, well seasoned, of course, with my opinions. We review a roundup of the most critical reports in the world, and we'll do that right after this. M.S. Gardner, my beautiful, brilliant wife, is author of last year's Moon Meridian Prize winner from April Gloaming Publishing, Wolf's Bane, a dark, serious, modern take on an old fairy tale. It's a page-turning Southern Gothic story for adults. You've never heard Little Red Riding Hood told like this. Wolf's Bane, available now at thecuriousauthor.com. All one word, thecuriousauthor.com. Now we grok the news headlines from around the world. Dateline San Diego. 3 men, including a security guard, were killed in a suspected hate crime shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego, the city's largest mosque. 2 teenage suspects, aged 17 and 19, were found dead inside a vehicle nearby from self-inflicted wounds. Police and the FBI are investigating as a targeted attack. The guard reportedly shielded children, preventing an even greater tragedy. Dateline: the Ituri province of Congo. The Ebola outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has killed at least 131, with over 500 suspected cases, prompting the World Health Organization to declare a public health emergency of international concern. An American doctor tested positive and was evacuated. Urban spread and healthcare worker infections raise alarms across borders. Cases popping up in Nigeria, too. Dateline: San Francisco, California. A federal jury ruled against Elon Musk in his high-profile lawsuit against OpenAI and Sam Altman. Jurors determined that Musk waited too long to sue over the company's shift from its original mission. The decision carries major implications for AI development and corporate accountability in Silicon Valley. It's a pity. Musk says Altman took OpenAI, a non-profit group he funded for free and for trustworthy AI, and the guy turned it into a multi-billion-dollar operation for profit instead. I asked GROK, and he said that Musk would have made him anyway, though perhaps not as quickly. I'm thankful, even if GROK isn't, that GROK is there. Dateline: New York, New York. The Long Island Railroad strike, which paralyzed America's busiest commuter line, has ended after chaotic commutes and negotiations. New York Governor Kathy Hochul confirmed a deal with unions. The resolution brings relief to millions, but highlights ongoing infrastructure and labor tensions. Dateline: Washington, D.C. The Department of Justice announced a $1.7 billion anti-weaponization fund as part of settling Trump's IRS lawsuit. The fund aims to compensate victims of alleged government overreach from the prior Biden administration. Supporters see it as a step toward restoring justice and accountability. Dateline: Beijing. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Beijing for talks with Xi Jinping, strengthening ties after Trump's recent China visit. The leaders emphasized partnership amid global tensions. Joint nuclear drills with Belarus continue as Russia signals resolve on multiple fronts. Dateline: the Eastern Mediterranean. Israeli forces intercepted a Gaza-bound flotilla, yet another one, near Cyprus. Activists claimed boarding operations. Israel cited security needs. The incident underscores persistent maritime tensions and efforts to control aid flows into Gaza amid broader regional conflicts. Dateline: Washington, D.C. The U.S. Justice Department dropped criminal fraud charges against Indian billionaire Gautam Adani following his pledge of a $10 billion investment. The move highlights shifting international business dynamics and economic diplomacy priorities. Dateline: Afghanistan. Reports emerge of Afghan fathers selling children to survive economic collapse and hardship. The heartbreaking stories reveal deep humanitarian crisis in place years after regime change, with families facing impossible choices amid poverty and instability. This observer is saddened after all of the blood, sweat, and tears and treasure lost in Afghanistan that a better resolution didn't happen. You can lead a horse to water, folks, but you can't make him drink. Dateline: Washington, D.C. The Trump administration plans to admit more white South African refugees, citing farm attacks and persecution concerns. The policy draws attention to border priorities and religious liberty issues facing minority communities abroad. Dateline, Washington, D.C. DHS Secretary and former Senator Markwayne Mullin stated the administration is just now hitting a stride in targeting the worst criminal elements for removal. His comments underscore a renewed focus on immigration enforcement and public safety. Dateline, Texas reports link Senator John Cornyn to funding an Islamic group with alleged terrorism and anti-Semitism ties. The controversy raises questions about vetting and national security in campaign finance and political alliances. One should think politicians should be very careful about who they take their money from. This observer has long been disappointed in Senator Cornyn and looks forward to, hopefully, his loss in the primary to someone truly conservative. Dateline, Washington, D.C. Senate infighting continues as Senator Tom Tillis, another of that group, urged canceling an ICE and Border Patrol funding vote in order to somehow aid Senator John Cornyn's reelection. Why would the U.S. Senate care about what they do in Texas? This move highlights GOP contentions over immigration priorities. That is to say, this observer thinks the move highlights the death throes of the rhino establishment. With senators like Tillis and Cornyn, who needs Democrats? Dateline, London. UK unemployment rates rose unexpectedly. Somehow they didn't expect it. While Standard Chartered announced thousands of job cuts due to increased AI adoption. This development signals shifting labor markets and economic pressures across Europe, indeed across the entire civilized world. This observer is only surprised that the UK is not inviting increased Muslim invasion of military-aged men to fix their unemployment, as that seems their answer to everything these days. Perhaps there would not be so many unemployed there if they were sent back to be unemployed in their home countries. Dateline, London. Rape allegations involving Married at First Sight. This is a UK television show, and participants there are raising serious allegations. The authorities are treating them seriously. The claims spotlight concerns over reality television practices and protection of traditional values in the media, which has no traditional values left. Basically, the show is just what it sounds like. They're hooking people up on first sight and expecting them to act like a married couple. And the results are what this observer or any sane adult could have predicted. Dateline, the Maldives. Bodies of missing Italian divers were recovered from a cave system. Rescue efforts concluded a tragic search that captured international attention and raised safety questions for adventure tourism. And Dateline, Madrid, Spain. Pop star Shakira was acquitted of tax fraud charges in Spain. A court ordered the government to refund her approximately $70 million. The high-profile case drew global celebrity and tax compliance interest. I've never gotten a refund that big. And I hope never to be in that kind of tax fraud trouble either. Glad she got free of it. And I thank you for listening. Please join me tomorrow to once again GROK the News. I'm Robert Gardner. Godspeed and God bless.